Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome everybody to the Aspiring Authors Lab Morning Show. How's everybody doing today? I hope you're having a fantastic day wherever you may be. So hit this share button and share this broadcast out with your friends. Now today I have a very important guest. We're going to be talking about something today that's really going to astonish you. But I want you to pay attention and take notes if possible. Grab that pen and that notepad and take notes because today is going to be a very powerful day and it will move you into a place where, beforehand something may have held you back, but it's going to move you into a place of productivity in your life. So, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Gertrude J. Chapman, your number one inspirational book coach, and I have taught hundreds of women how to generate revenue and write their books successfully. And that's something that I could teach you also. So, like I said, hit that share button and share this broadcast out with your friends because you don't want to miss today. Because this is very powerful, a very powerful segment that we're going to be talking about today. Now, the theme for this month has been on focus. Focus. And why is focus so important? And the topic that we're going to talk about today, because I have Audrey on here today. And the first time I met Audrey, I knew that this is somebody that I could collaborate with, and she's going to be explaining to you exactly what she does. And our topic today is woman, know your value. Know your value because you are not what has happened to you.
Amen.
Hear me again. You are not what has happened to you. Audrey, too many women have stopped living because
Yes.
of a situation or a circumstance. Okay?
Yes.
They're being held captive by some traumatic incident. But we are here to tell you that it's time to live again.
Yes.
It's time to dream again. It's time to live. And no matter what has happened to you, okay, I want to let you know that this is not all it is, okay? Being captive in those things in the recesses of your mind. It's time for you to live again. And so, without further ado, let me introduce Audrey Cornegay, and she's going to tell you a little bit about herself. Go on,
Hi.
Audrey.
Again, my name is Audrey Carnegie. I am the CEO and president of Sisters of 751. And what we do, we help women. And I'm sorry, forgive me. We help women who are going through domestic violence or have been through domestic violence. And we help them identify the difference between a healthy and toxic relationship. So that's what we do as Sisters of 751. Although we talk about other topics, those are one of the main topics that we talk about because a healthy relationship is important.
And that's so
Okay.
true, a healthy relationship. Sometimes women feel like, they're stuck in a situation and
Yes.
a circumstance, but they don't have to be stuck.
No,
They
they
don't have
don't.
to be stuck. Sometimes they don't know what a healthy relationship looks like.
Right.
But today, you're going to talk about some of those things to help these women who may be going through this currently or may have come out of it and they're
Yes.
still stuck
Yeah.
in that place in their minds, But
Mm-hmm.
let me ask you this. Who is your ideal audience, Audrey? Who's your ideal audience? Who are those women?
Well, as Sisters of 751, we have on our board, we have a younger group and then we have a much seasoned group. So we focus on two different audience, and that's between the age of 21 and 30 and also the age of 45 to 60. And because of that, it helps us to have that balance because the Bible says that the older women are to teach the younger women. So we're able to pour into each other. And just because they're young, that doesn't mean that we can't learn anything from them. So it's
Mhm.
very helpful to have them to be a part of the board because they are very computer savvy or technology savvy, you could say, and they help us with all of that, and they give their opinion, and it's good. It's good. So, God is good.
Yeah, and it's so true. We learn from each other. And
Yes.
that's the beauty of everything. We learn from each other because sometimes when women find themselves in these situations, they think, well, I'm the only one that's going through.
Yes. Yes.
I'm the only one that's facing this. But when
Yes.
they see other women who have gone through that and could share some knowledge, or in a circa situation, and could share some knowledge about what it is, then they feel, well, I'm not the only one.
Right. Right.
Because the devil likes to isolate people.
Yes. Yes.
And when he isolate a person, then he can really work on that mind.
Yeah.
And it's so important that if you're going through this, what we're talking about today, that you don't isolate yourself.
Right.
And feel sorry for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's the next question, okay? What makes a woman stay in a toxic relationship?
Well, what I learned over the years, insecurity, low self-esteem, but I think the main one is stability. Stability. A lot of women, when they think about leaving a relationship, they ask them, they self-talk themselves out of leaving, because where am I going to go? What am I going to do? Especially if he's the sole provider, how am I going to take care of my kids? All of these questions that go on in the back of their minds, wondering just how they're going to get things done if he does everything for them. And then not being secure enough in themselves and just trust that they can leave, knowing that they will be okay. So, I believe that, those are there's so many other reasons why women do stay in a toxic relationship, but I think that those are the main three, especially stability, because nobody doesn't want to know, like, it's like I said, they have all of those thoughts in their head, how they're going to make it, so they make a choice to stay, which is not a good choice, because now not only is she not only is the relationship toxic for her, but it's also toxic for her children as well, and she should think about her children, because especially whether she have a son or a daughter, she doesn't want them to grow up thinking that, and having that idea of just them taking on that same behavior and becoming an abuser themselves. So it's a lot of things to think about, when you're in a toxic and abusive relationship, and it doesn't always have to be physical, but regardless of whether it's physical or verbal or whatever, it's still not healthy.
Yeah. And that is so true. That is so true. It doesn't matter. And I think that emotional is even worse.
Yes. Yes.
Emotional is even worse.
Yes.
It may not be the bruises and things that people could see, but emotional, you could damage a person by the things that you do and the things that you say, and prevent them from rising again. But I want to let women, that you can rise again, and it's time to stop hiding behind those things and using those things as a crutch. Because you can live again, you can dream again, and somebody might be saying, well, Gertrude and Audrey, you're being so insensitive. But no, we're not being insensitive. We're here. We're coming here today to tell you that it's time to move forward. It's time to live again.
Yes.
Because, we have been through these things, okay?
Yeah.
We have been through these things. I've been through all of them, the emotional, the sexual, the physical abuse, okay? So we're here to tell you, we're not telling you something that we don't know, that we haven't experienced. We're telling you something that has happened to us. And if we can make it, and we're on the other side of this, listen, now this might not be for everybody, but this is for somebody today. He who has an ear to hear, let him hear. Because we're coming here today to let you know that this is your time to move forward, to dream again. You don't have to stay stuck. You don't have to, be in that situation or the circumstance. You can move forward. Okay, just like you said, Audrey, it goes, it's generational, those generational curses that the kids, they pick up on it. How many times have you seen? I think we had a discussion about that. tell them about in your family, how that has
Yes.
been in your family.
Yes, I mean, I came from a family where all the women in my family went through domestic violence. Every last one of them. I watched my mother, my aunts. I mean, and it wasn't watching them go through that and not leaving, and I would always go to the Lord and ask him, like, why they allowing themselves to go through that. But then when I went through that, because it is a generational curse, and you would think that after going through all of that, or seeing all of that, that you would not get into a relationship. But I was in my relationship for 5 years before I actually experienced domestic violence. And it didn't feel good. And right away, I can be honest, I didn't leave right away. But when I prayed and God spoke to me and gave me a plan to leave, and when it was that time, he opened the door for me to leave, because I knew that that's not what I wanted. I was better than that. I was bigger than that, and I deserve the best. I am a queen, and so are you, ladies. You are also a queen, and you deserve the very best. And deep down inside that when something is not right, we have that intuition to know that this is not right. And when it's not right, we should not stay. We should leave, because we should know that we deserve the best, not only just for ourselves, but also for our children. They deserve the best, and they shouldn't be in the midst of all of that, because it can affect them in so many different ways. So many ways, because they're asking the same question. Why is mommy staying? Why are we going through this? So, we have to be very careful, and don't ever be afraid to seek help. Don't ever be afraid to seek help, because you should seek help. Get that help that you need. And if you can't get it from your family, go outside of that, because there is help out there. There is organizations that will help you.
I think it's the stigma that people, think of, I can't do this. I can't,
Right.
ask for help because so-and-so going to think this, or so-and-so is going to say that. It doesn't matter what so-and-so is
Right.
going to say. You can't think of those things. All those things are negative things to keep a person trapped in a situation,
Yes. And Gertrude, also, a lot of women is embarrassed. They are embarrassed about the fact that they're going through that, because they were thinking that, I thought he loved me. I thought he cared about me, and again, they're asking these questions in the back of their head, if he loved me, why he's doing it. But then on the flip side of that, you got some women said that if he don't hit me, then he don't love me. So how do you balance all of that? Because there's a flip side. But that's where, they have to understand the difference between a healthy and toxic relationship, because a man beating on you is not a healthy relationship. And that definitely doesn't mean that he loves you. And that means that he have issues himself if he has to beat on you.
And that all goes back to value.
Yes.
That all goes back to people not knowing their value and their true identity. Okay? Because some people have heard it all their lives. You're not nothing. You're never going to be anybody. And you're this and you're that and all those negative things. But we want to tell you, ladies, that you can rise again. You can overcome those things. You don't have to be what somebody has called you. It's what you answer to.
Yes.
Okay. It's what you answer to. So true. You have to come out, reprogram your mind. It's again, we're going back to the mindset. I love talking about the mindset, because you have to reprogram your mind. I'm not this. Okay. I'm not this punching bag. I don't have to take this, Raise your standards, no matter what your mother did, no matter what your grandma might say, no matter what the auntie said. I don't care. And like you said, Audrey, on the inside.
Yeah.
On the inside, something's not right about that person. I don't care how much money they got. Okay.
Right.
That's another thing that keep people stuck. Oh, well, he's the provider. He's, I'm enjoying this luxury lifestyle and all this, that, the other. No, you don't have to, be a captive to the money.
Right.
Or a captive to anything.
Right.
If something's not right, you could leave.
Right.
And just like you said, God always give a plan.
Yeah.
Now, are you willing to step forward?
That's it.
And walk out of that?
Yep. you know. And then not only that, a big part of it too is trusting God. You know, we you know, the thing is, a lot of people have issues with trusting God,
Mhm.
yet they've seen God show up in their lives so many times. And you know, the biggest part to that is because they don't know where God is taking them, they become hesitant about trusting God. But we have to get to a place where we trust him even when we don't know what he's doing, because God, the world has told us, I have to see it to believe it, but God
Mhm.
tells us to trust him and he'll
Mhm.
show us the way. You know, and that's the
Mhm.
difference between having a relationship with God and a relationship with the world, because the world have told us many different things that's not right, you know.
That's it.
And just because they said it, that don't mean that it was right, and that don't mean that it was true, you know. But we have to when you have a relationship with God, you just have to trust God, because on many occasions we don't know how God is going to work it out, and that's, I think, what makes people so uncomfortable. But we have to get to a place of trust, just trusting God, knowing that he's going to see us through and that he's not going to fail us, you know, and he will take us through that every step of the way. So that's a key thing, and that's so important for us to really trust God.
Yes, and it's so true. Then it goes back to the value. It goes back
Right,
to that inner
right,
image identity, not knowing who they are.
right.
Not knowing who they are.
And you know, on top of that, also, you know, we have our common sense again, because you got to have that balance. It's not, we can't always put it all on God, because just like
Mhm.
we have our part that we have to do too. You know, we, like you said, it takes courage. You know what I'm saying? You
Mhm.
have to be strong enough to know that I can leave and that I can do better than him. He is not, I mean, there's other men out there, but when you got somebody in your ear constantly tell you nobody don't want you, you got all of these kids, or you look like this or you look like that and you ain't got nothing, all of these things that they tell the women, and if you leave
Mhm.
me, you know, if I can't have you, nobody can have you. You know, I heard that one. You know, that was part of my story. But you know what? Regardless of what he said, I loved myself more than I loved him. And I was walking out that door, regardless of what he said. And
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, because he did come looking. But when he
Mhm.
did find me, I had the courage to say, I don't care what you say, I don't care what you do. We gonna just have to fight it out, because I'm not staying.
That's
And he
it.
respected that at that point, and he had to let me go, because he realized that the love that I once had for you, you caused me not to have it no more.
See, but you have to step forward. You can't
Yes.
stay stuck. You have
Right.
to step forward. And what we come in here today and talking to these ladies about, is moving forward, not staying
Yes.
stuck in that
Right.
mindset.
Right.
Because some of these things have happened over 50 years ago,
Yeah.
and they're still stuck.
Yes.
They're still
Yes.
stuck in this mindset.
Yeah, and
The
you
word.
know, even, sorry, we yesterday, you know, we had a women empowerment yesterday, and one of the things was is that, you know, you can't be afraid to move forward. You have to believe in yourself and know that you really do deserve the best. And
Mhm.
you know, like I said, it is about your values, it is about your morals, it is about your standards, it is about you knowing your worth, you know. And
Mhm.
what do you believe, you know, what your beliefs are, because you got to have a belief system, and a lot of people don't have a support system either, you know. That's why,
Mhm.
you know, I feel that Sisters in 751 is so valuable to women who are struggling with all of those issues. I mean, because we want to teach them that you do matter, you do
That's it.
matter, and you're important. And you got to love yourself, because if you don't love you, then who else is going to love you? You have to teach people how to love you,
That's
because
it.
a lot of people don't know how to love you.
Teach people how to love you and also how to treat you. If
Yes.
you fall for
Yes.
anything and not setting those boundaries, guess what? You
Yeah.
know, you got
Yeah.
to set boundaries.
And like
Here's
like
the
like how they say, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything.
fall for anything. And that moves us right into this right here. Guilt plays a big role. Why does the abused woman think that she deserves to be treated a certain way?
Again, like I said, a lot of women feel guilty if they leave because of the children. A lot of times that's mainly one of the reasons why they stay is because of the children. But we got to learn how to come out of that, because we shouldn't feel guilty about someone not treating us the way that we deserve to be treated. But a lot of times we trying to help the man. Oh, but you can't help somebody that don't want to be helped. You got to help yourself first, because a lot of times, as we know, we all have heard about domestic violence, and this is a topic, or this is a situation that has a never ending story. You have young women as young as high school and maybe even younger going through domestic violence. And they're feeling guilty because the first thing they're saying, but he loves me, but I love him. But but what about you loving you?
That's it. That's very important. You have to love yourself first.
Yeah.
Have to love yourself first. And that moves into this next question. How many women do you encounter who are covering up their hurts by coming across as being defensive and hard to get along with?
Well, to be honest, even with doing Sisters of 751, as long as we have, for over the 15 years, a lot of women, they usually don't show that like right away, for me. And I don't know what it is, but I guess it's because I'm approachable. So a lot of times when I get the opportunity to meet women, they're more open to me. I haven't really, had too many women who jump on the defense. I mean, very few, honestly, because the fact that I'm approachable, and then once, they hear my story, it's easier for them to come and talk to me and share with me. And we can get to that point where, how can we help you? How can I help you? And a lot of times it's just been them allowing me to pray them through the situations. So I haven't really encountered a lot of people who put up that defense with me. And I thank God for that. That's a special place to be in, where people feel that comfortable that even though they're going through that, I really don't get that a lot. And that's the God's honest truth.
Well, that's good for you. But okay, let's put it this way for other people out there. Okay.
Yes.
A lot of times when we're in the workplace and there are people that's hard to get along with, or they're very defensive.
Yes.
And people think, well, they're just rude, or they're just this and they're just that. It could be something that they're going through at home.
Yes.
And we've seen that, right? We've seen that in those situations and circumstances. And then when you really talk to the person, you find out that there's something else going wrong, because really they're not comfortable with themselves.
Right.
Okay. So now, and they've been hurt so much. So they put up that big facade. Okay.
Yes.
That facade, or that mask, as we like to call it these days. Okay. The mask. I'm never going to be hurt again. You're never going to get to my heart, and deep down inside, that's a hurting person. So that's why, we have to look beyond those things.
Yes.
Look beyond what we're seeing and really get to see what's really happening with the person, because there's so much of that, Audrey, there's so much of that going on. Yeah.
And because what it is once you do talk to them, they will let you can, after talking to them and hearing the conversation, that something else is going on. I mean, a lot of people, like you said, they put on a mask, but then there's some people who can't help to show what they're going through, that that they're going through something, which a lot of times when I see people have this face on, I can't help to go and say, how you doing today? Because sometimes that's all it takes, or have a blessed day to get people just to open up. I mean, a lot of times for me, I've had women, I could be sitting at a bus stop or just go somewhere, and people just come up to me and just start having conversation with me.
Oh, yeah.
And just let it all hang out, and again, I'm able to, encourage them, pray with them, and then let them know that, Sisters of 751 does exist, and we're here. To be a support to you, because you have a lot of people, again, who don't have family, or they do have family, but you went to them on so many occasions and you still stayed. So now it's like they throw their hands up. They don't really want to help you because they figure, you got to help yourself now. So
That's something else. And we're talking about this. Women know your work today.
Yes.
Women know your work, and
Yes.
you're not what has happened to you. And
Right.
why, Audrey and I are talking because I believe in collaboration. I
Mhm.
believe in collaboration. And I know that there are women out there that could tell their story
Yes.
and
Yes.
be a help to other women. Write their stories
Yes.
because it has to come from a place of authenticity.
Yeah.
Okay, just like you were saying, you have people in your organizations, the younger ones and the older ones, and you learn from each other.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
also, you learn by writing books. Okay,
Yes.
people
Yes.
learn from your experiences,
Yes.
and you know, I have a book, and I pulled it out this morning because I wasn't thinking about it, and something told me pull this book out this morning. I told you I have went through different type of abuses, and this
Mhm.
was emotional abuse because when I was growing up, they had a person in our home. Well, it was my mom, my dad, my grandmother, my uncle, and myself. Growing up, I was the only child,
Mm.
and I went through emotional abuse because he was schizophrenic. I'm talking about
Mhm.
my uncle.
Wow.
Okay, he had
Wow.
served 17 years in a mental institution coming out of the war. I
Mm.
lived in a home with padlocks on the inside of the door. Okay,
Mhm.
emotional abuse.
Mhm.
And if I could, and the book, Audrey, is called Motivation from Within,
Yes.
Leveraging Your Power. And
Okay.
I wrote this early on. And the reason why I'm bringing this up, because I'm going to tell you, when you write your book, women,
Yeah.
it's going to be a different form of healing.
Yes.
It
So
took me a long time to get
yes.
this together, but it
Yes.
was a form of healing because I had to write this book.
Yeah.
Okay. And I put on the back here, when you are ready for a change, make a decision that allows for no turning back
Right.
when you are ready for a change.
Yeah.
But that motivation from within, leveraging your power, because when you get tired
Yeah.
of being in a situation, in a circumstance, you can rise again.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Somebody needs to hear your story. It's
Yes.
time to come out of, how I would say this, and not being offensive. You know, this crush of, oh, I've been abused. I've
Right.
been
Right.
this, I've been that. It's time to move on. Okay? It's
Mhm.
time to move into your healing. It's
Right.
time to teach somebody else. It's time to show somebody else that there's hope, that you
Yes.
came out on the other side. You are not your situation. You
Yes.
are not your circumstance. And it's time to stop identifying with
Yes.
those things and be who you are
Yes.
destined to be.
Yes. And I agree 100% with that.
Mhm.
It's so true that, we can't keep walking around saying, woe is me. Life happens to us all, but
Mhm.
it's how we deal with it.
Yes. Oh, lost audio. Can't hear you, Audrey.
Can you hear me now?
Now I can.
Okay.
Okay.
We can't allow ourselves to be boggled down with the things that happen to us in life because, you know, things will happen. But you know
Yeah.
what? There's no testimony without the test. So
Yeah.
we have to understand that everything that we go through is not only for ourselves, but it's also to help someone else. Because just when you thought that your situation was bad, someone else's situation is worse.
That's right. Lost audio again. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me? You can hear me
I
now?
can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry
It's
about that.
true. It's
Yeah.
true. Somebody
So
else's situation is worse.
yeah, yeah. But
Mhm.
the fact that they don't know that because they haven't met no one who's been through that, and once they come into a space where they find out that other women are going through what they're going through an even worse situation, it causes them to re-examine themselves and
Mhm.
realize, that wow, just when I thought I was the only one, and then
Mhm.
the fact that you're not. Now you get a chance to listen to other women's story,
Yes.
and then look at your situation and thank God that, because it could have been that, it
Mhm.
could have been that. A lot of women are not here to tell their story because
Mhm.
they have passed on due
Yeah.
to domestic violence. And the unfortunate part is that we have the law, they only giving this piece of paper, to women. I mean, and we talking about a situation that has been occurring for centuries, centuries.
Mhm.
And this is where we are. And then guess what? All we have now is when you call in for a domestic violence situation, somebody's getting arrested now. So that's the
Mhm.
only add-on. Is that really the only add-on after decades of abuse and murders that has taken place because of domestic violence? And this is where we are. We should be way further along. Women
Mhm.
should not have to be afraid that because men have come back even with the order protection and still has died with the order protection sitting on their dresser or in their drawer.
Mhm.
So it's unfortunate that the law enforcement is not taking it as serious as they should. And then when you go and you report that you're being abused, you shouldn't go back. You shouldn't go back because it only gets worse. It never gets better.
Low self-esteem, not knowing who they are, not valuing themselves. Women, you have value.
Yes.
You have work. You have to
Yes.
stop settling for situations, just trying to fit in or just trying to have something. Because women, you can do better. You could do better. That's what we want to encourage you today. You can
Yes.
do better. But if
Yes.
you have a story to tell that could save somebody's life, you've been
My
through
God.
something and could save somebody's life, write your story. You know,
Yes.
Audrey is here to help you, going through the domestic abuse. I'm here to help you to write your story.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Save somebody from going through some of these things. Or if they're in something, show them the way out. Because
Right.
nobody could
Right.
tell it like you. Nobody could tell it like you. And
That's right.
I'm going to tell you, that's the way that I received my heal. Because, Audrey, and there was other things that happened to me, but it was years. It was years. I couldn't talk about these things. Because what happens? You feel that guilt. You feel like
Mm-hmm.
it was your fault. That's what first comes. You feel like it's your fault. You feel the
Yeah.
guilt, whether it's sexual abuse. How can a 5-year-old child think it's their fault?
Right. Right. And
All of those things. So whatever kind, we talking about domestic abuse, but we also talking about emotional abuse
yes.
and sexual abuse. Okay?
Yes.
Tell
Yes.
your story. Don't be feeling guilty, okay? Because guilt's the first thing to come, thinking it's your
Yeah.
fault.
Yeah. And even the child, like you said, the child feels
Mhm.
guilty. The child does think that it's their fault,
Mhm.
and because a lot of times they get put in the middle of it.
Mhm.
I mean, for instance, again with my story, I mean, I remember, my stepdad. We would go out and come back in the house, and he's constantly asking me all these questions, and it made me feel bad because I mean, I was the type of child that I couldn't lie. It was just too hard for me. So I had to come up with a strategy as
Mhm.
young as, and my strategy was every time we go out, and this is the God's honest truth, and it was time for us to get in that car to go home, I would fake like I'm sleeping because if I don't see nothing, I don't know nothing. So when he asked me a question, I didn't have nothing to tell because my eyes was closed and I didn't see anything.
Mhm.
And so children, when they get put in a certain situation or a situation like that, how can I help mommy? You don't want to see mommy constantly being hurt. So you wise up, and I mean, I know, like I said, for me, that was my strategy to keep her from getting beat on my behalf because of what I said that we
Mhm.
were or what we did.
Isn't that something? You have to be clever in that respect
Yeah.
in order to save somebody else. So
Yeah.
that's what we're telling you, women. Use those strategies, write those strategies, and point somebody out of that situation where they're in. And of course, if you're in that situation and you don't have, the strength to get out, talk to somebody.
Yes.
Sometimes people don't want to talk to because, they don't know somebody. They don't, have that.
And they don't want people in their business. They feel like this is my business. I don't want people in my business. But guess what? In your business, you're being harmed. You're being harmed. Yeah. So let somebody help you if you can get the help. If you could get the help, why not get it? I mean, because it's not only is it going to help you, it's going to help your children.
Yes. It's going to help you, your children, and break those generational curses. Because somebody has to stand. Somebody has to stand and say enough is enough.
Yes.
Enough is enough. When people get sick and tired, but you see, some people perish, from the thing. But this is your opportunity. If you still here, you still have a chance. When you come to the end of yourself and get sick and tired and say enough is enough, you will do something about your situation. So we're talking to those women who will rise up. Okay, it's time to rise up and come out of that abuse, whatever it may be, spiritual, physical, emotional, whatever, sexual, whatever it may be. This is your time to come out of that.
Yes,
because I'm pretty sure they heard enough today that will give them the ammunition to say enough is enough.
Yeah,
enough is enough. And any final thoughts, Audrey, before we close out? Any final thoughts? Anything you like to add?
Well, I mean, like I said, we all deserve the best. Every last one of us, male or female, we deserve the best, and we should always strive to be at our best. And we should never let no one take away what God has installed inside of us. We all have gifts, we all have talents, we all have something that we could give, and people are looking for us to be able to pour into their life just as well as they pour into ours. But we can't let no one stop us from being our best because we deserve the best. So we should always, strive for that and let nobody take away, you being who you are. Because like you said in the beginning, when we first started talking, people lose their self in relationships. They lose their self because it's like, they become that person, and love yourself enough to say, I deserve the best. That would be my final, thoughts.
And it's true. Deserve the best. And remember this, ladies. We're not that situation or that circumstance.
Right.
We have to stop identifying with it. We're just the vessel. If I could say that, we're just the vessel that went through it. It was a time in our lives. It was a situation or a circumstance in our lives. It's time to tell your story.
Yes.
To be a light for somebody else. Give them the strategies, the plans, the tools that they need to come out of a situation or a circumstance. Just like you said, Audrey, our situation might have looked very grim when we were going through it.
Yeah.
There was somebody else who was worse.
Yes.
There was somebody else in worse shape. So don't allow the devil to isolate you to think that you're the only one. So we can do a battle in your mind because the battle is always in the mind.
Yes.
You could choose today to either stay in that situation, which I hope you won't, or come out of that situation. Okay? It's time to dream again. It's time to live again. It's time to move forward in your life. And if you need Audrey to help you, her information is at the bottom of the screen. Take down that information. Okay? She even left her phone number there. If you need to talk to someone, call her. Get in touch with Audrey, and she will help you. If you need to write your book, to tell your story, to be a help to somebody else who's going through, contact me. You could go I have a 15-minute free discovery call, and I will be glad to help you, to point you in the right direction, whether you're writing your book and you put it down, or you're thinking about writing a book. If it's just a fantasy in your head, we can make that a reality.
Amen.
And you can go to bit.ly/generate revenue 2021. Again, that's bit.ly/generate revenue 2021. And I hope that what we have discussed today has brought value to you.
Yes.
And giving you the ammunition to move forward, to come out of that dead, dry place and move forward, because there's so much more for you. And you may be stuck in a situation, but you can rise again. And with that being said, we want to thank you for listening to the Aspiring Authors Lab morning show. And we want to invite you to come back and listen to us the next time. But with that, with all of this been said, Audrey, with all of this been said, I know there are people on the other side who's going to move forward.
Yes.
I know they're going to move forward. Okay.
Yes.
So this is your time. This is your season. This is your turning point. So have a great rest of your day.